Don't know why or how. Okay, wait a minute. This Tembi wants to get in on the action. Say hello, Tembi. Anyway, so I came to this epiphany a while ago, and I hope that I can express it well enough to make my point. It seems as if in our world today, with this technology in our digital world, that as artificial intelligence becomes more and more um, intelligent and human-like and adaptive and intuitive and flexible and just ubiquitous, the more that we human beings are demanded to become more machine-like. Now, how do I'm trying to express it in a way where I'm making sense. But let's put it this way, right? I'll give politics. I'll give an example of politics, artificial intelligence, algorithms. These days, most of us get our opinions from social media and mainstream media, and they have their agenda. They share the same agenda, basically. And so we're commanded to just comply, to take in the information, not question it, and regurgitate it. And anybody who questions is called a conspiracy theorist. Anybody who dares to, look behind the curtain is like even a morally, they're considered to be morally, kind of evil, right? Like either they're evil or they're a moron or they're, retarded or something like that, or they're deficient some way. But this is what I see happening. So as artificial intelligence gets more and more data from us, it collects our data, our human data, our thoughts, the things that we share, the things that we express, our conversations. It's just collating all of this, and it's thinking more and more like us. We're told by the authorities to not think as a human being. So, human beings, it's in our nature to be curious. It's in our nature to explore, to question, to experiment, to debate, to, oh, come here. It's like, okay, you're going to have to come here. All right. So, it's in our human nature to question. It's in our human nature to gather more data. Like all of the things that are human, it's in our nature to continuously push our awareness and our consciousness out, right? So we love music, we love art, we love folk tales, fairy tales, we love, I don't know, go on and on and on. We love our favorite shows and series and movies, and we make up games and we play old fashioned games and we have games and we iterate on the games. See, you get my drift? That's what we do as human beings. We experiment constantly. It is in our nature to question, it's in our nature to explore. But the authorities are telling us to go against our own human nature. So it's almost like we've flipped positions between man and machine, right? So now machine is the one that gets to explore and push its consciousness out and its awareness out. And man is supposed to be a machine now. And we have this new morality, right? So shame on us, shame on anybody who dares to just be a true, free human, right? And so instead of being seen as a normal human being, we are regarded as like feral. And then there is this like list of names given to people who see reality from a different perspective. So I'll give an example. And I know I might get in trouble for this. I was very, very curious, and I went to the Capitol on the 6th, and I'll tell you what I saw. We get off the metro at L'Enfant Plaza, um, walk a block, and then there is this whole block, both sides of the road, of one car after another. And these are people from China, and they have draped on their cars or like these signs like "Down with the CCP," "Say no to communism," signs like that. And they were educating as much as they possibly could about um, the similarities between what we're going through right now and the Chinese Cultural Revolution, which was, created, mass starvation and murder and stuff like that. And they're like, we've been through it. We see you're going through it. We do not want the United States to be lost to communism, because once that happens, it's like the whole world is going to fall to it. Now, I walked around and I talked to people. I'd say a good 85% of people were like white, middle Americans, and then the other 15% were, it could have been more actually. Well, I'll be conservative and say 15% of people were mostly Asians, some blacks, some Hispanics, right? Of every demographic, all walks of life. Of course, the mainstream media, they're very clever about editing those people out. The people there were very friendly. There was just this spirit of camaraderie there. I talked to different men there, and I asked them, like, what brings you here besides, of course, everybody knew election fraud. And they said, well, these government policies, we're small business owners, we're entrepreneurs, we are farmers and ranchers, and these government policies have been squeezing us out for a while. And now with the coronavirus lockdowns, we are basically losing everything. And like, I've lost everything, and everybody I know has lost everything. And, we're pretty desperate, And that's something that the mainstream media, of course, is never going to tell us. You'd have to be very curious and go up to people and ask them, what are your concerns? What brought you here all this way? I talked to a farmer who said that she was talking about, I think it's potash mining, and the only mines, I believe, are in China. So like potash is an ingredient in fertilizer. And most farmers use fertilizer, but they're very dependent on China. And China could just like flip off the switch, and that could cause could cause famine in the United States. For the past several months now, I've been sharing information about our food insecurity and the coming famine. And then it was so funny because like last week, I started seeing all of these articles about how now Bill Gates is the number one owner of farmland in this country. And anybody can research and find out what his designs are on our food system. But the thing is that the media, the powers that be, and they're an assortment of people, but you could say the technocrats, say that, like the high-ranking members of the Chinese Communist Party, the globalists, whoever they are. It doesn't really matter who the individuals are. What matters is that we need to understand what's going on in our world, and we need to be able to maintain our humanity and our sovereignty. And like going back to the whole reason for me making this video, my concern and my epiphany is that we are being commanded to lose our humanity. So it's like, if before, like the nature of human beings is to explore and push our consciousness out and push our awareness out and learn more and see an issue from as many different perspectives as possible, and therefore very naturally develop empathy for other people, we are being commanded to hate other people and look at them with fear and suspicion, and even see them as not quite human. like those people are the boogeyman. So, like, another example that I'll give is with the mandates to wear masks all the time, we see each other as bioweapons, right? So, everybody, if you're not wearing a mask, you are a murderer. If not indeed, at the very least in intention, you are a murderer. Um, but right, so we attack each other, but then there are these, mayors and governors and senators and congresspeople and representatives and these people in high places who are walking around flagrantly without masks, and they're getting together and they're hugging and they're being very normal, and they're telling us to be abnormal, and we are the bad ones. So what do they know that we don't know? What they know is that this COVID-19 is not as deadly as we're being told, And I think it was last February or March, I started writing about how, yeah, of course, there's going to be a second wave the next flu season that comes around, and there are going to be more deaths. And I predict that those deaths are going to be because over almost a year, people's immune systems have been gone from like this level to way down there, right? And I also wonder how many people have died simply of starvation, even in the United States. We know that people in Africa people in South America have been dying of starvation because of the coronavirus lockdowns. But how many people in the United States have as well? I mean, we've got tent cities mushrooming all over the place under underpasses. So many people are going homeless over this issue. So this is something that we really need to think about, that we are sort of losing our humanity. We're losing our human connections. We're losing these bonds that used to tie us together. We're losing our capacities to think deeply, to think critically, to go and do our own research. We're losing so much because it's like the punishment for not complying is becoming so severe. I mean, more and more severe by the day, that we don't even dare, right? And my dog is really getting on my, come here. So as a machine, or I'll say as algorithms, as artificial intelligence, as AI becomes more and more and more, like human, right? More, I mean, just so quick, so fast, so flexible, so intelligent, so intuitive. We are becoming more and more like automatons, to the point where, I mean, I fear that if we are commanded to kill, if we're commanded to, say, turn somebody in for a different view, if we're commanded to shut other people out, if we're commanded to see them, if we're commanded to, if we're taught to see people as not human, then we might wind up committing atrocities that we never, ever could have imagined. And we might, I'm just thinking about with the technology and the power that we have today, we could make Nazi Germany look like a walk in the park. I'm serious. So that's what I want to say. I'm just putting it out there. Whoever it lands on them, and that'll be a good thing. And for some people, they'll, think that I'm overreacting, and that's okay too. But in the next few years, it's going to get more and more and more and more. And I'm just trying to plant seeds in people so that, we can recognize where we're heading and what's happening to us, and take our humanity back, take our capacity to have empathy for other people back. Because one day each one of us is going to need that from somebody else very different from us. And if we don't advocate for them now, there's going to be nobody to save us. So that's my little message I want to put out. And Oh, yes. Last thing I said I was going to say. Tomorrow, 5 o'clock at Whiskey Tango Foxtrot in Austin, Texas, we're doing a co-flow party. So that's going to be Thursday, January 21st. And that's the unveiling of Co. Our website is ko.is, and we're about group flow, coherence. It's a philosophy and a practice, game based learning, interpersonal learning, and neurofeedback, integrating neurofeedback to just kind of like unlock our potential and our potential with other human beings and reclaim our humanity, because really technology should serve us. We really shouldn't be serving other people in the name of technology. All right, well, that's it for now. Thanks.